Can a bad movie spawn good figures? This is a question I see a lot, and a statement I see a lot. It's like, Justin, you've got terrible taste in movies, but that figure is really good.
That's where you got me.
Now, the thing that's going to get divisive is the movies that I have picked for the bad movies may not necessarily be bad movies for you. And that's fine. But based on Rotten Tomatoes-ish scores and also community thoughts, some of these, they're pretty widely regarded as not great movies. So that's why I picked some of these. I really like this movie. I really like Birds of Prey, and it's rated pretty well Rotten Tomatoes-wise, but a lot of people don't. So that's why it's here. But Birds of Prey, Will, this movie, did it work for you?
No. Absolutely not, dude. It's funny. I really wanted to like this, Justin. I really wanted to like this film. I actually went in. I was like, this is going to be good. This is going to be really good, dude. I really did not like it.
You were hoping.
Yeah, I was really hopeful going in. Honestly, Justin, did this produce a good film or a good figure? Because because with this one, the figure had visible joints and stuff, and it was I can't remember what other Harleys came out from this film, but I remember this one from the outfit on the poster, and I was like, it had visible knees. Yeah, see, there it is.
It did. It did have visible knees, Will, but it had multiple outfits, and that coat was awesome. So I'm going to ask the question not only to you but to the audience: did this bad movie or poorly received movie, I won't call it bad because some people might like it, did it spawn good figures? You had two Harleys, this Harley and the golden dungarees / jumpsuit one. They call it the booby trap battle because at the end that's where they were battling in the funhouse booby trap thing. And at the end of this topic, by the way, I'm planning on doing it like a yes or no. Can a bad movie spawn good figures? Yes or no? So it's not going to be like a maybe. Full on yes or no. I'm going to commit. But with this one, did this movie spawn a good version of Harley? Will, did you like this? Just the knees, I know, will throw you off straight away.
I'm going to say no. I'm going to say no, Justin, because I would also say the teeth. The teeth bother me on like every Harley figure I think I look at. It also bothered me on the J&D for that matter. So maybe maybe I just care too much about the teeth and the smile, but I feel like it throws off the likeness if it's not perfect. So it kind of gives me like not quite Ant-Man vibes, but it kind of gives me a little bit of Ant-Man vibes with the teeth, right? Because remember the teeth when he was smiling, it just was like, it's too creepy. His mouth doesn't look right. And it's the same things going on with this one, I feel like. I look at it and I'm like, her teeth are like, it's almost like they're protruding from her mouth or something. Something just looks, it's like that uncanny valley thing, That's what it reminds me.
There's not enough depth between like the lips and the mouth. It's like it's like flat plane. It's
like, exactly. It looks unnatural. It looks like a doll or something. Yeah, like it looks, and that's kind of the problem with it. But to have everyone who has this figure, I'm happy for you. If you love it, that's great. So to answer the question, I would say yes, Justin. I think a bad movie can spawn really good figures. I think it just depends on.
But this isn't one of them.
Yeah, not this you. This is not the example. For example, Venom 1, I don't love, but that Venom figure is amazing.
Okay. Not on my list, actually, but it could be. By the way, throw some figures in the chat that you think came from a bad movie but are really good figures, and I'll go through them at the end of this topic. Just, I'm curious to see what you'll have
the sequels to a lot of people, Justin. Star Wars. So
Star Wars sequels, that is true. This was one. A lot of people can agree. Suicide Squad 1, not a great movie. And I didn't mean to put two Harleys in a row now that I see that I've done that. So I apologize for being redundant. But this Harley, a lot of people say is the best Harley. And it was from a movie that wasn't great. Now, she did have exposed knees, not quite as bad as these, because this is the prototype. The final product, the knees looked a little bit better, but still. Will, did you like this version of Harley? Is this the ultimate version of Harley for you?
I would say this version's a lot better, yeah. I would say this version's a lot better. You can still see the knees through the pantyhose, but it's a lot better. This probably is the more iconic version. I actually have never owned a Harley Quinn figure, so I'm not the biggest Harley fan in the world, to be honest. Like, I like Harley. I always thought she was good, but it's not like, oh man, I need a Harley in my collection. But a lot of people obviously disagree with me on that one because Harley's been a super popular character, it seems. Every statue company's making her, every Hot Toys is making her in multiple versions in the same film. And I would say this is probably the most iconic one. I'm trying to remember even what the other ones were. Like, I remember that one you just showed because I remember how much I didn't like it. But but the other ones, what was the other one that was more iconic? I don't remember. Do you know?
I don't think it was. There was from this movie, we had 3 different versions of Harley. We had this version, we
Yeah.
had the dress version from the club scene, and
Yeah.
we had
Yeah.
the prisoner Harley with the espresso and reading
Yeah.
the romantic book, the 50 Shades of Grey, whatever it was, that she was reading in the prison when
50
she was
Shades of
rescued by
Grey.
Joker. So we had 3 from that movie. Then we had 2 from Birds of Prey, which was one was the caution tape one, and the other was the Golden Dungarees. So we've got 5 Harleys in total from Hot Toys.
Yeah. That's a lot of
A lot
Harleys,
of Harleys.
dude. I would say this is probably the iconic one out of the ones you listed. I'm glad you
Ooh,
mentioned this one.
This is going to be so divisive.
This is where it's
'cause-
going to get spicy. Yeah.
Oh, it's going to get so spicy. I didn't like this movie. A lot of people really, really like this movie. The critics didn't love it. I didn't love it. Will, I didn't think you loved it either.
No.
But we're not really here to debate the merits of the movie. We're here to debate, did it spawn good figures? And I think it did. There's 2 Doctor Strange figures currently announced. Why they didn't do Defender Strange, I will never know. But both of them, I think, look insanely good. So this is going back into the yes side. Yes, I think a movie that's divisive can spawn some really good figures, because these 2, they look like showstoppers, especially the next one, which I think we all know what's going to be. Will, Doctor Strange. Did you have any Doctor Stranges?
I have the Infinity War Doctor Strange, but the dilemma, Justin, is this is not this one, but the previous head sculpt. That is the best Doctor Strange head sculpt that has ever been done by Hot Toys, and it makes me very upset because I have the Infinity War one, which is still good, but this one is a big improvement. So if the final comes out anything like this, then I think it is going to be a tough decision. But yes, this I did not love Multiverse of Madness either. I didn't hate it. I thought it was maybe like a 7 out of 10. Like I was very disappointed, but I didn't think it was a complete loss. But I think this is great, and of course, the Wanda too is really, really good. The Wanda is amazing. That's the Wanda.
And Dead Strange. And Dead Strange. I mean, that dead cape.
It's cool.
It's nasty, but it's gonna be eye catching in the display for sure.
Yeah.
This
definitely.
one's not divisive. It's a terrible movie. No problem admitting that. The Last Night, not a good film. But the designs and 3Zero's DLX line, chock full of diecast, crazy engineering. So once again, another yes. I think absolutely. Bad movies can have good figures. But another side of the argument is, well, as good as the figures look, if the source material isn't good, doesn't that sort of like taint this character design for you when you go in and look at the collection? Oh, bloody hell. It's from that freaking Transformers 5 with the Michael Bayness and the Mark Wahlberg, and oh god. Like, does that factor in? Do you get bad memories, like flashbacks of stupid scenes? Like, Hot Rod saying, "I'll stop the time," constantly?
It does for me. It does for me personally. So that's why I feel like because like one of the reasons, Justin, I know that everyone says, anytime you ask anyone a question, like I said, I've said this a bunch, but anytime you ask the question, why do you collect Hot Toys? Why do you collect 6K or whatever? They always say nostalgia. That's why I do it, right? I don't feel nostalgia about things that were not fun or good. So, so
Really?
Transformers.
You don't?
Yeah, no, I don't feel nostalgic for the bad times. I don't feel that. So I would say that at the end of the day, like if it's one of those where the film's just not that great, it can diminish it. However, if you're looking at it purely as a figure and you're like, this figure is dope and I don't really care what the source material was because it looks great, there are a lot of people that can do that. And sometimes I can do it. Like I said, Venom. I have Venom and I love Venom because I love the character. I love the character of Venom, but I just didn't love the first film, although I did like the second one. So, but yeah, if it's a bad film, it can make you question whether you really want the figure. But if it's an iconic character for you, then I think you're willing to look past it.
I agree wholeheartedly. And Transformers 5 was one of them. Wonder Woman 84, Bob Dylan earlier said this. I guess he knew it was coming. Wonder Woman 84, a film I enjoyed. Not a lot of people did. Once again, can a bad movie spawn good figures? Yeah, in this instance, it did. Golden Armor Wonder Woman with that wingspan. I've seen so many people with the deluxe Golden Armor Wonder Woman with that huge wingspan on top of their detolfs as like their centerpiece. That is their DC centerpiece. So if everyone was following the mindset of like, nah, that movie just a no, won't get the figure, we wouldn't have ever seen that. So I think people are sometimes, if it's an iconic character, like you said, people are willing to overlook that for Golden Armor Wonder Woman and for this new one. The prototype, I think, looks a little bit worse than the final. A lot of people don't agree, but the one that I have in hand looks insanely good. So we got 2 figures from a bad movie that are both really good. Brand new seamless body. made out of silicon for the first time. Usually they use something called thermoplastic rubber. It's a mix of plastic and rubber, their own custom creation. Quite rigid, tends to crack and peel. This is the first time they've ever gone with silicon, so it's a brand new body. Can you... I don't even know how they decided to invest in a brand new style of body for a character that maybe we would never see again. She might be having another appearance in The Flash. Thank you, Funko Pop, for potentially spoiling that for me. So maybe they'll have one more chance to use that new body. Just one more. But I think, yeah, in this instance, absolutely. Will, Wonder Woman 84.
Yeah, Wonder Woman 84. It was a massive disappointment. A massive disappointment. Unfortunately, I love Pedro Pascal in it, but the rest of the film, dude, Justin, I was watching it and I was like, I'm getting a headache watching this. It was very unfortunate because Patty Jenkins is obviously showing she's a really strong director. And what she did with the first Wonder Woman was great. Really enjoyed that film. But then I watched Wonder Woman 84 and I'm like, what went wrong here? It was just, and first off, the opening sequence or whatever it is with the whole chase scene of her as a kid and stuff. And I was like, this is going on way too long. This is like the longest thing ever. And I was like, what is the point of this here? I don't know. And it never really leads to anything, I felt like. And then she I don't want to get into the whole possession thing with Chris Pine's character. It was I don't know who wrote that. It was a very weird situation. But basically, dude, this film was very disappointing. But the figure, Justin, I don't know because I don't have it in hand like you do. But when I saw the original final photos, I was like, something with the neck looked a bit off. And then something with the sculpt. I was like, I think the sculpt looked better, but then the neck, and then I saw some other things. But the body looks great on this. And I'm glad, like you said, they invested in a new body. But I think yeah, you can make good figures out of bad films. Look at Morbius, for example. So
that is true. That is a very good one. I wish I had that on my list now.
Yes, Morbius. We don't have a final product yet, but I mean, how are you going to mess that one up? I mean,
surely they can't.
Right.
But they might.
Yeah.
Surely they can't.
Doubtful, but it's not even really like a head sculpt. It's just like a vampire sculpt. So.
Yeah, it's like a creature. Shiny says, I could easily get a figure from a movie I haven't even seen if the figure is amazing. Art is art. That is another good point. Art is art.
It is.
So if you like it just based on the figure itself rather than anything that's come before it or what it is actually based off, it's a very good point, Shiny. Thank you. RoboCop 3. So we replaced Peter Weller as RoboCop with John Burke. I'm pretty sure it's his name. I could be wrong. Let me know in the chat, I think. So we've replaced RoboCop straight up. And the premise is a bit weird. Worst out of the 3 RoboCop films, I think. Still a good popcorn flick, bit of fun. But this new RoboCop figure, I saw so much excitement when they announced this. They were cheeky and they reused the Peter Weller faceplate, so recasting, who cares? It's still Peter Weller for Hot Toys. And the color scheme, that blue with the purple hue, damn, it's pretty.
This looks pretty good, Justin. I've only seen the first RoboCop, so
So you're fine.
This is actually a good situation where it worked out in my benefit. So I've only seen the first RoboCop. So to me, they all look fairly similar. But to the to the uninitiated, the disengaged like myself, I would say that this RoboCop looks pretty similar to the other ones. And I'm going to take your word for it. If you say that RoboCop 3 is bad, then I'm going to say it's bad also. I'm going to take your word.
I'm going to get flack. Some people are like, RoboCop 3 is my
RoboCop
favorite
3 is a grail.
How dare you?
Yeah, I haven't seen it, so I don't know. But I'm sure I like the first one. I remember watching the first one. The first one was pretty good.
First one is good. And a lot of people like Kane in the second one. He's like the villain of sorts. Interesting design for sure. But nevertheless, at the end of this topic, this Daily Bugle headline topic, by the way, this is the one I came up with. So if you didn't like it, then you can blame me 100%.
I loved it. I thought it was great.
I thought it was a bit of fun too, but to answer the question with like a yes or no, I think yes.
Yeah.
So there are things that can work against it. Like if the movie is so bad that it kind of ruins that character for you. Like a lot of people said Game of Thrones, like the last season just completely ruined the entire show. For me, it didn't happen. I mean, the rest of the other 7 seasons still happened, and I still really liked the characters, but I didn't mind the ending of Game of Thrones. I have watched it, by the way. The reason I haven't been mentioning that I've been watching it is because I didn't want to get spoiled. Yep. Somehow I avoided all the spoilers, and I watched it. Completely unrelated to this topic, but yes, I think a bad movie can absolutely spawn good figures. Just a disclaimer, do not let my thoughts on these movies ruin them for you. If you like them, that is totally fine. We don't have to agree. So I apologize if I've offended anyone with my movie choices. I'll hand it over to Will to give his final thoughts on this main topic. Then we'll go right on to the next one.
Absolutely, bro. I think absolutely a bad film can spawn good figures. Like I said, depending upon who you ask about the Star Wars sequel films, I really like the sequel films, especially 1 and 3. I like Force Awakens and Rise of Skywalker. Last Jedi, I liked it. It was good. It was satisfying overall, but I didn't love it. Right. So I think to a lot of people, they didn't like all 3 of them apparently, and they spawned some pretty good figures.
Really?
The Praetorian Guards. The Rays, the Kylo Rens, the First Order Stormtroopers. So
Captain Phasma even.
Yeah, Phasma. Phasma is pretty good. First Order Stormtrooper is not a good example, but for the other ones, I would say yes. And like I said, Venom for me, a lot of people didn't love Venom and Carnage, or Let There Be Carnage, the second Venom, and I thought it was a pretty fun film. So a lot of people didn't even love it, and they're still going to get that Carnage. So I think, and Morbius, no one loved. So no one went to see it, and no one went to see Morbius, and no one really liked it apparently. So maybe some, but I don't want to put everyone in the same box. But but at the end of the day, yeah, I think absolutely, bro, absolutely, you can make a good film. Some people didn't like It Chapter 2, and technically, I think that Pennywise was It too. So
yes,
they're both great though. So watch them again because they're both great.
Just watch them. I haven't watched them at all because I don't know. I'm not a horror boy, but maybe I'll come around. I don't know. Maybe one day. Just to wrap up, though, yes, I think a bad movie can absolutely spawn some pretty freaking good figures because, like Shiny said, art is art.